preview of the Dino Bidala Show on Sirius XM Channel 127. I am Dino Bidala, and it's Friday, August 7th. As always, I'm here to be your MBFF all weekend. Even when I'm not doing the show, email me, dean@deanofradio.com. Follow me on Twitter. 88 days to the most important election of our lives. 88, that's it. And we got a jobs report today, and I'll go through some of the details right now here so you don't hear the spin, but you actually hear the facts. And these facts come from the Trump administration, but Trump and Larry Kudlow and his people were out there just ignoring the real facts and spinning a lie. But here's what's not a lie. There are nearly 31 million Americans on some form of unemployment right now. That's stunning. It's a historically high record. And what's the GOP and Trump doing? They will not agree to a package to help workers in need because now they care about the deficit. Literally, they just broke off negotiations a minute ago. Mark Meadows, the chief of staff, talking about the deficit, and that's Trump's chief of staff about the deficit. Now, when it comes to helping workers in need to put food on their table, they care about the deficit. But when it came to a tax cut for corporations and for the wealthy donors that added $2 trillion to our deficit, they didn't care about the deficit. This is GOP cruelty at its core. And that's exactly why I say Donald Trump is not an aberration. He's a manifestation. This is GOP cruelty for decades. They only care about the wealthy, and they use blue-collar workers who should be Democrats, frankly, because we're the party that cares about you. They use you by giving you issues like pro-life. When it comes, though, to time to help you, they turn their back. They use terms like the deficit. Let's go through some of the jobs number, and I'll go through much more detail on my show right now. But look, there's two big issues tied to COVID-19 for the next 88 days that I think are going to dominate this election. One is the health crisis. Over 1,000 Americans, again, dead, and that's the average the last 2 weeks. It's horrific. Trump's ignored it. He's moved on. People die. He doesn't care. That's why he has only a 35% approval rating of handling COVID. So the second issue is the economy. And what's Trump's plan with the economy to get people working again? The same as COVID-19 health crisis. Lie, deny, and hope for a miracle. It didn't work with the virus. It's not working now. We heard the numbers today. They're extremely awful, what's going on in our economy. Again, forget the spin. Let me give you some real numbers here. Nearly 32 million Americans currently receiving some form of unemployment. Just yesterday, we learned 1.2 million Americans filed new unemployment claims in the last week. 1.2 million, folks. That is the 20th straight week of over 1 million people filing for unemployment. And to give you context, the record before of filing for unemployment before this COVID-19 Trump recession, 600,000 in a week. So last week, we doubled the worst of that. And so the economic numbers today, Donald Trump and his team are taking a victory lap. Yes, unemployment did come down to 10.2%. 10.2% is worse than the highest numbers of the Great Recession. That was 10%. And yes, 1.7 million people did get their old jobs back. But the 2 months before, we had over 7.5 million getting their old jobs back. This is terrible. The economic recovery has stalled, and for one reason, Donald Trump's failure to handle the virus crisis. The health crisis and the economic crisis are intertwined. You cannot divorce them. You can't say liberate and no one feels safe. They're not going back to their workplace. That's why we had mass, again, re-layoffs of people because of Trump's failure to handle the health crisis. So here are some of the numbers buried in the jobs report today that are getting no press because our media would rather cover Donald Trump's tweets than the real numbers. Horrible numbers. Black unemployment, nearly 15%. It came down almost nothing from last month. That means nearly 1 in 8 Black Americans don't have a job. And is Trump talking about that? No. Hispanic unemployment, 13%. Horrific numbers here. Buried in the jobs report. In July alone, nearly 3 million Americans permanently lost their jobs. And I'll get into that in a second. That's really meaningful. Here's another number buried in the employment numbers today, which make the numbers look slightly better than they really are. And this, again, is from Trump's own Department of Labor. The camera froze.